Hello, everyone. This is Jonathan O'Donnell, Director of Digital Marketing here at PixelMEDIA. I hope you're all doing great. And with that, I'd like to introduce you to Heather Atwater. She's been with PixelMEDIA running the SEO practice for over 6 years now. Heather really has pioneered quite a variety of SEO solutions for the brands that we work with, and it's been very exciting to see her growth. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Heather.
Great, thanks, Jonathan. So obviously today we're going to be focusing on search engine optimization for e-commerce and what you should know. So like John said, I've been a digital marketing professional here at PixelMEDIA for over 6 years, specializing in search engine optimization. I work with my e-commerce clients on understanding their customer, their business goals, in order to deliver the most impactful results. So what I do is I focus on a flexible digital marketing strategy that's all geared towards driving relevant organic traffic while also improving the user's experience on the site. And you can see on this slide, I've listed my email here. Like John said, we're going to be trying to get through quite a few SEO topics at a higher level. We understand that some questions will be coming up, so feel free to submit them in the chat box or follow up with me via email. So in addition to search engine optimization, here at PixelMEDIA, we also offer a host of other services. These services are strategic consulting. We work with a lot of clients who are either optimizing or implementing an analytics strategy, paid advertising, email, and then content as well. We'll be touching on a lot of these topics in our future webinars that are part of this series. Great, so search engine optimization for e-commerce. Why does it matter? SEO is really a key part of any e-commerce site's digital marketing strategy. What we want to do is drive search results. These search results really help users make decisions about which site to visit to address their needs in the results page. This presentation is really going to focus on on-page and technical SEO components that you should really be considering as part of your strategy. And throughout this presentation, I'll walk through these two areas and also address some really commonly asked questions that I hear from a lot of my clients. Like we've said, please feel free to submit a question, but we hope that some of the information in this presentation will answer some of your questions about SEO for your e-commerce site. Great, so the agenda for today, we're going to talk a little bit about what on-page and technical SEO are, and then we're going to dive in to talk about some key on-page SEO elements like keywords, URLs, and metadata. Content, which is obviously a huge part of any SEO strategy, is going to be covered in more detail in a webinar on the 18th of September. And then for the second half of the presentation, we're going to talk about technical SEO, which includes redirects, user experience and site speed, and indexability. We're going to dig deeper into Schema in another future webinar that will be on September 11th. So look forward to those presentations. Great, so before we get started, I just want to talk a little bit about what we mean when we say on-page SEO and technical SEO. When we say on-page SEO, we're really talking about the practice of optimizing elements on a site, and we're referring to the content and the HTML source code of a page. This helps both users and search engines understand what your site is about in order to match a page on your site with a user's search query within results. When we talk about technical SEO, we're really talking more about the process of optimizing your site for crawling and indexing to improve the visibility of your site in search, as well as the performance for users. Keyword research. So for the first section, we're going to talk about on-page SEO and keyword research. A really good SEO strategy should start with keyword research. The keyword research is going to help you understand site performance, it's going to help you understand how users are reaching the site from search engines, and it's going to provide a lot of valuable information to you when you're working on site architecture, URL labeling, or writing metadata. And really, we kind of answered this here, but I get a lot of questions from clients about, are keywords still important? And the answer to that is yes, of course. They inform all these important things that happen on your site, and they really help you understand your user better. Even if the meta keywords tab isn't being used, there are other places on the site that keywords are very important. When you think about keywords, you really want to think about what the searcher's intent is, and this will help you figure out what pages should be optimized for, and it can even identify potentially new content that you want to write to meet users' needs. The second question I get quite a bit related to keyword research is, how do I decide which keywords to use? With really thousands of options, you really want to decide on what keyword makes sense to align to what page based on relevancy to the page itself, search volume, current rankings, and what your competitors are also appearing for. And like anything on a website, really what you want to do is test. So if you find that you optimize a page for a set of keywords, write metadata, create new content that's optimized with keywords, you might find that you're not getting the results you expect. That's a good time to revisit your research and try a new strategy based on a different set of keywords and see if you can improve based on those changes. Next, we're going to be talking a little bit about URLs. Business Manager offers a lot of flexibility for creating and maintaining URLs. You can see on the right here, we have a screenshot. They really allow you to do quite a bit of flexibility when you're creating your URLs. So things like character replacement settings, which will make sure that all of your URLs appear in lowercase, making sure we are filling in any white space, and then also doing custom replacements for different characters that might be appearing in your catalog settings can all be managed in Business Manager. And really, there's quite a few different, you can see here, catalog URL rules. There's quite a few different URL configurations that you can set up in Business Manager. One of the most important is going to be your catalog URLs. So you want to highlight attributes for your catalog URLs that are keyword rich. So if you have a field in your catalog for a product name, you're probably going to want to include that in your catalog URL structure. And what's great about Business Manager is that these rules will automatically construct URLs across your entire site. So it's easy to make the changes in one area and have a wide impact on your URLs across the site. In addition to catalog URLs, you're also able to write custom page URLs without impacting that kind of front-end rules that you've set up for other parts of your site. The page URL field allows you to customize, and it allows you to do an override of these rules, and you can really include a lot of valuable keywords for some of your high traffic pages in this area. Metadata. So when we're talking to clients about SEO, one of the most familiar topics to our clients from the user side is metadata. And one of the most helpful tools that Salesforce Commerce Cloud has come out with is this page meta rules. Page meta rules is this area here on the right in the screenshot. And what it does, it allows you to leverage existing attribute fields and create a pattern that you can see here on the right that includes these paid attributes. It also allows you to add in text such as promotions, features, benefits. And it's a really good area to highlight if you have free shipping across your site, then you can automatically use this rule to append that information to the end of your meta description in search results. Of course, just like URLs in Business Manager, you're also able to overwrite these fields with custom information. If you have a high-value page, often for my clients, this tends to be category landing pages with a high volume of traffic, you can actually go in and custom and manually write title tags and meta descriptions in the catalog page itself. And really, you can see on the right here, we have one of these questions that's commonly asked. If you have thousands of products, how do you optimize this many pages? And these meta rules are really a great way to do that. This will affect the metadata across your entire site without you having to go in and manually add information to each page individually. Great, so I think we just kind of covered quite a few elements of on-page SEO pretty quickly. Please feel free, like I said, to submit any questions related to this. We're going to switch gears a little bit now and talk about another important element of SEO, and that's going to be technical SEO. One of the most important technical SEO elements you can see here on the screen is 301 redirects. Whether you're removing a page or doing a complete site redesign, you're going to want to consider enough time and resources to dedicate towards doing a really comprehensive 301 redirect strategy. When we're talking about 301 redirects, we're really talking about when you're changing a page, redoing a navigation, even changing your site completely. You want to make sure that you're redirecting any relevant URLs. So relevant URLs are going to be landing pages, canonicalized versions of pages. You really want to focus on redirecting that previous page and URL to where it's going to live in its new location on either a new site or as part of a taxonomy redesign. And these redirects are going to preserve the SEO value of that previous page and direct it to the new page. It's also going to improve user experience. So if someone has bookmarked or saved a page, they're going to be able to access it still. through a redirect. So the second element on here is actually one that it seems kind of like an obvious one, but we often see clients that have issues with their HTTPS and HTTP sites in addition to www and non-www. Really the issue with this is if you have multiple versions of your site, it can create an issue with duplicate sites and duplicate content in search results. So you really want to make sure that either one redirects the other and you have one version of the site appearing in search results. And the last bullet here, you can see we're talking about types of redirects. Business Manager offers dynamic, static, and URL redirects, previously called one-to-one redirects. And this allows you to create redirects right within the system. And you can really leverage the capabilities to make redirects as easy as possible, especially when you're looking at a large change that might affect the redirects for thousands of pages. These rules make it really easy to manage this right in Business Manager. So on the right here, probably one of the most common problems that I run into with my clients are, how do I handle out-of-stock products? So I want to spend a couple minutes just talking about what we recommend is an approach for handling out-of-stock products and what you should and shouldn't be redirecting. So when it comes to an out-of-stock product, you want to ask yourself one of these two questions. Is this product temporarily out of stock, or is this product permanently out of stock? The reason you want to think about these two things is because if a product is temporarily out of stock, then you know it's going to come back online, and you want to make sure that you're preserving the SEO equity that that page has by keeping it live. Now, if you're going to keep the page live, you want to make sure you're doing some of the items and best practices that we've highlighted in the screenshot here. You want to make sure you're letting your users know that the size or color they selected is no longer available. And you can see on this site in particular, they actually have a notify me when this is back in stock area, so that a user could sign up and be notified when that product is available again. Also, you're going to want to make sure that your add to bag or add to cart button is turned off so that a user is unable to add something to the cart that is not currently available. And like I said, this all goes back to keeping this page live and preserving the SEO equity of the page. Now on the right, if your product is permanently out of stock, you really want to allow this page to 404 and go to an optimized error page that features a search bar, other popular products, popular pages, and contact us information. Now, if you have a product that has a closely related sibling, this page can be a good place to present that. Great, so one of the other important items, and this is not really going to be new news to anyone who's familiar with SEO, but really having a good user experience and a good site speed is extremely important to the SEO value of your site. You really want to make sure that SEO and UX are working together so that your site is easy to use and functions well for both bots and for people. Elements like navigation, clear labeling, and fast site speed are all very important to user experience. You can see on the right here, we actually have a chart that's from Ericsson, and it states that the stress that a user feels on a slow mobile experience is similar to the stress levels of watching a horror movie. That's absolutely incredible. This means we need to really take advantage of things like Google's page speed tool. This is a free tool. It helps you identify opportunities to improve the speed of your site, especially with mobile being such an important segment of users. Also, this is a good time to bring up that it's so important that as a good SEO, and when considering SEO, you're really working with cross-functional teams that are thinking about user experience and your development team, just to make sure you're making the right performance changes across your site to improve things for users and search engines together. Great, so finally, one of the most important but not to be overlooked items related to technical SEO is site indexability. When we're talking about indexability, we're really looking at sitemaps, your robots.txt file, and canonicals that all come together to make sure your site is properly indexed and crawled by search engines. Some of the tips I have regarding XML sitemaps are make sure you configure your sitemap and staging for testing purposes. You want to make sure that all the pages that you're expecting to see in your sitemap when it goes live on production are going to be appearing properly in staging. So you might want to go into your catalog and make sure all relevant products and pages are going to be included. On the other side of things, you're going to want to make sure your robots.txt file is blocking pages that you don't want crawled. We typically recommend blocking pages with personal information or checkout steps. However, you're really going to want to have an expert review your site specifically to make sure that you're just making the most of crawl budgets from Google and other search engines to make sure you're only crawling important pages on the site and not irrelevant pages. You also want to make sure that you're linking in your robots file to the secure version of your XML sitemap. It's very easy when creating a robots.txt file to link to an insecure or non-secure version of an XML sitemap. We obviously want to make sure Google is crawling and indexing the secure version of your site, which is why it's important to make sure this robots file includes the secure link to that sitemap. And finally, canonicals. Canonical elements keep clear results in search engines when it comes to URLs. You want to make sure these URLs are search friendly, and you really want to make sure you're consolidating all the SEO value a page has into one version of the URL. This will prevent you from competing with yourself in search results and make sure you're displaying a clean URL to users. Great, so some questions we have here on the right. Is it better to have one or separate sitemap files? I prefer for large sites to have separate sitemap files for products, for product listing pages, and content pages. The reason for that is I find that it's easier to troubleshoot, and you want to make sure that in each separate sitemap that you're seeing what you expect. You want to make sure you're including all of your relevant products and content pages to be presented to users. And sitemap settings. What settings should I be using? We recommend including images, increasing your sitemap to include up to 50,000 pages, and setting change frequency and priorities based on your business goals. We often are highlighting and prioritizing the shoppable pages, so that would be product description pages and product listing pages, but you might want to consider what your other goals are too and consider prioritizing those pages higher. Great, so I want to thank everyone so much for the time today. If you have a question, please feel free to submit it. And if we aren't able to respond to your question as part of this webinar, we'll make sure we are following up. Great, I think we have a few questions showing up here in the chat window. So one of our questions here is, are you relying on tools such as Moz, Screaming Frog, and etc. for additional insights? That is a great question. When we send out this presentation, we're actually going to have an appendix and resources slide that will talk about some of the tools, both free and paid, that we use here at PixelMEDIA to help us understand what's happening on a site. I can speak for myself. Screaming Frog is an excellent tool. It's really helpful to get a high-level view of what your URLs look like, what your canonicals look like, if you have multiple versions of your site showing up in the index, and metadata as well. It's a tool we highly recommend for seeing what's happening on your site. We also recommend using SEMrush, which is a really great premier SEO tool to give you some perspective on what types of keywords users are searching for and what those volumes are. So thanks, that was a great question. Great, so someone asked a really great redirect question. So at what point do you use a 302 redirect? Typically, we stay away from using 302 redirects. However, we find it especially useful for pages that are going to be temporarily gone or changed. So you can use a 301 would be a permanent redirect, and a 302 would basically telling Google and indicating to Google that they may want to come back and recrawl that page. So 302 redirect, minimally used, but it can be important, especially if you have an event page that you're updating maybe seasonally. That can often be a good time to use it. Great, so I'll wrap up with one more question about on-page SEO. Someone asked, does this also affect PDPs? Yes, absolutely. So really when we're talking about keyword research, this is a good perspective to look at it. When you're looking at on-page SEO and you're wanting to optimize a product listing page versus a PDP, keywords can be a great place to start. You're going to want to have on-page SEO and metadata on product description pages that is really specific to what that product is. So for example, if you have a shoe website and you have a group of keywords that are all related to sneakers, and you sell women's and men's sneakers, you're going to want to map women's sneakers to a higher level page, like a women's sneaker landing page, rather than a specific PDP. When you're looking at a keyword that's more specific, such as women's black sneakers for the gym, that's a very specific keyword, and you'd want to map that more specific keyword to a more specific page, like a PDP page. So yes, we highly recommend considering SEO and metadata and optimization across product listing pages or category pages, but also product description pages as well. Great, and if anyone else submits questions or thinks of a question after this webinar, please feel free to reach out to me at hatwater@pixelmedia.com, and we'll try and follow up with you on a response or an answer. We're also going to be sending out this recording as well.
So thank you very much, Heather. Thank you all for making this webinar. Heather has a pile of links at the end of this as an appendix that hopefully you guys will find valuable. So once again, thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Great, thanks everyone, and we look forward to seeing you on the rest of our webinar series.